We all want to be supported, respected, and treated fairly in the places where we live, work, play, and worship. But across the country, programs that support these values are being eliminated, leaving people worried about their jobs, feeling less safe in their communities, and anxious about whether they belong. The executive orders from the Trump administration have targeted diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, at the federal level. They seek to dismantle DEI offices and defund any initiatives that support historically marginalized and excluded communities. For example, we're already seeing the repercussions with massive funding freezes for critical scientific and medical research. Program budgets are being slashed from essential social services like healthcare, housing, and immigrant and refugee services. Any content on websites that is related to DEI is being removed from public health agencies to multilateral corporations. These are attempts to bully public and private sector organizations into abandoning their commitments to equal opportunities. While change is primarily led by communities, the government plays a key role in ensuring these advances are protected under the law. Without the government's support, which is made clear in DEI policies, the rights and protections to equal opportunity and fairness are at risk for everyone.
We want to remind viewers that DEI programs and initiatives are designed with two goals in mind. First, to acknowledge the ways that people have been unfairly barred from accessing services and opportunities for advancement. And second, to lower and eliminate those barriers. DEI is about promoting fairer processes and practices for everyone. It's about ensuring that those who have been historically excluded are able to participate fully in the workplace. It also means they have access to the resources and services they need to thrive. The scope of the DEI initiatives is broad. It includes, for example, ensuring that workplaces are welcoming, fair, and compliant with anti-discrimination laws, that public schools are places where students can access learning opportunities and feel safe, that all community members have meaningful opportunities to participate in civic engagement. When systems are fairer and enable wide access, they serve and benefit everyone. Workplaces attract and retain top talent, students perform better academically, and communities are better represented and able to shape local decision-making.
Our 4-year community-led research justice study titled Cultivating Belonging in Clackamas County is a testament to the power of DEI work locally. It demonstrated that community members, including those working in dominant institutions, want to make Clackamas a place where everyone feels like they belong. However, this can't be done without investments in DEI work. When the Office of Equity and Inclusion at Clackamas County was dismantled in 2024, we saw a decrease of support for queer, trans, and Indigenous communities. We heard from many community members that they felt a deep sense of betrayal, that their government was no longer committed to supporting all of its residents. They shared that the loss of relationships with people who worked in the office was devastating. Because of the depth of this loss, the community mobilized.
Today, folks continue to organize across the county to support and advance DEI, such as the Clackamas County Equity Coalition. This demonstrates that equity, inclusion, and belonging matter to Clackamas County residents.
It's for these reasons and many more that one of our calls to action in the report focuses on protecting and investing in DEI within dominant institutions like governments. The most immediate way that this call to action can be realized is to reinstate the Office of Equity and Inclusion at the Clackamas County Government Agency and pick up right where the old office left off. Our research shows the importance of how the Office of Equity and Inclusion partnered with external groups, city personnel, and equity councils to better understand the needs and experiences of vulnerable communities, how it served as a resource for employees who don't feel safe or welcomed in the workplace, how it ensured that disaster preparedness and emergency notifications are accessible beyond English speakers, and how it worked more closely with community-led efforts like those led by the Clackamas County Equity Coalition.
In our report, we also talk about other ways to move DEI work forward in dominant institutions. For instance, collecting, tracking, and publicly sharing data about population shifts, community needs assessments, and implementation of community feedback. This call addresses the fact that most counties are unaware of the diverse communities that live in their jurisdiction because they don't collect sufficient or accurate data. This prohibits them from understanding community needs and experiences. Up-to-date information about these populations is essential so that local governments can better serve them. Another DEI-related call to action is to support and train leaders in creating safe and fair conditions in the workplace. DEI offices often coordinate these efforts and are the primary touchpoints for employees and community members to voice their concerns and experiences of harm. They provide training and education around how to create workplace conditions that promote fairness and belonging. Now that we've shared our calls to action regarding institutional DEI, let's turn it over to a local leader who will share about her experiences of moving DEI work forward throughout the county.
Some of the challenges of working to implement equity strategies inside of my institution are most likely similar to other organizations. To completely transform how our systems work and how the people that use them navigate the change takes time. So just like if I wanted to transform myself, I would need to examine deeply who I am and how I got to my current state. Decide what needed to change and be willing to make those changes. Our college would need to do that exact work, and in fact they are. We are on a journey. We have chosen a pathway that includes making small, bite-sized, sustainable changes that we believe will lead to long-lasting structural reformation. The intentional approach is not without trade-offs. Trade-offs like to continue to manage the harmful impacts and outcomes of previous and current policies, decisions, behaviors, and practices. We are working day by day to better engage with and care for the people overburdened by things such as limited access to information, economic constraints, and even things like overcoming feelings of being an outsider or imposter syndrome at work and in the classroom. Even though we've made commitments to revise systems and that created the conditions leading to disparity, we sometimes struggle to take action. We get stuck between external factors that we do not control, our own fear of failing, and old habits. Some of the strategies we have committed to help our efforts be successful and raise awareness are creating new data collection tools that measure the effects of our actions, building connections through storytelling and intentional relationship building, teaching folks to practice cultural humility, anticipating cultural difference, pausing to listen and reflect before responding and making decisions. I want our employees, students, and community to be open to growing, learning, and engaging through compassionate communication, and that we do these things in the hope of progressing towards the eradication of the impacts of racism, systematized hate, and discrimination. The cost of not doing this work really is something that I can't even fathom. Based on some of the things that I just said, these practices and things that we are currently doing would slip away, and those that need those services would find less access. There would be more fear and more old habits grabbing a hold of us. I continue to do this work because I feel called, and it is a purpose in my life to help remove barriers for folks, let them find their authentic way of joining in the cause to help others and to reach their own full potential.
Thank you for watching this video. If you're interested in learning more about experiences of communities of color in Clackamas County and ways to move equity and inclusion efforts forward, you can read our full report on our website. If you're ready to get involved and take action, fill out the mobilization survey where you'll be connected with local community groups working to advance the calls to action from our report.